Hello everybody, how is it going? This is Antoine, and this video is an update on my project with helping two guys have a better life through them achieving recovery from drug and alcohol addiction. And sadly, because I was helping Paul and Michael, I've changed their name. You can see in the other video I did. Michael, he stopped responding to me. I mean, I can't blame him because when I was using, I'm assuming that's what happened. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he just stopped talking for other reasons, but I think it's probably because he started using again and doesn't want my help anymore, which is fine because when I was in active addiction, I was running away from everybody that I cared for. And I care for him, I care for everybody in the world to live good and have a good life and not suffer, of course. Especially I have a soft spot for people with addiction problems because I went through that. So I care for him and I remind him of reality without drugs and alcohol and the things he should do to get there. And when you want to party, you want to party. I can't force people to want to stop using drugs. They have to want it for themselves. And I think what's happening, and the reason why I chose him is because it wasn't like the worst addict yet. And I wanted to help him out before he would endure more suffering. But sometimes, like for me, when I was still partying, it's like I didn't suffer enough. Because the only thing that would make me stop is a lot of pain and having almost like no choice to take the good path. Because the bad path would lead me to death or something like that. I just hope that he's okay, that he's alive, and that he finds his way back, or that he just simply reaches out to me. But that's fine. You know what? I'm doing this more than just for two people. I'm doing this for everybody that needs to hear the message of recovery, that it's possible. Because I'm doing it, people are doing it around the world. And not only it's possible to live life without being high every day, it's possible to reach glory, which is what I'm trying to do in 2020. But the other guy I'm helping, Paul, I think he probably has over 50 days of clean time now. Because he had 43 days a little bit ago. I asked him. And I reached out to him tonight. I said, hey, what's up? How's recovery and things? And it's interesting. I'm going to talk about that. Let's see what he wrote me. I said, how's it going? And he said, I'm feeling a little bit sad lately. Like a lot of memories coming back when I use things I did. I spent so much money on stupid shit. But it's like a whiplash of all my actions happening to me right now. I'm just like resuming here. I just feel weird. It's all mentally. It's weird because then I told him like, yeah, I would hate myself when I first came into the rehabs. I would always hate myself. He says, it's weird because I'm actually mad at my own self. That's what he said. He's like dwelling on itself, dwelling on the past. And I made him read The Power of Now so he knows that then when this happens, you get out of your head, you need to bring yourself back into the room you are in right now, in the now. Get out of your head and come in the world. In the now. Easier said than done when you have strong emotions. Trust me, even to this day, sometimes I catch myself just making myself freak out in my head, when in reality I could just bring me back to center, to my breath, and be aware of what's going on around me right now, in the present moment. But let's talk about self-hatred. He's mad at himself for the things he did. And one of the hardest things for me that I did in my third rehab was to forgive myself. Forgiving myself was the hardest stuff. They made me write letters, but I would write the words, but I would not feel the words. When you hate yourself, it's like you don't love yourself, right? So I had to learn before stopping to hate myself, to love myself. And what I did to do that, the trick I have is that I was once a 5-year-old little Antoine, innocent, pure, and I'm still that person. So what helped me out is that it's kind of seeing myself like as a third person. If I had a friend or a son or a brother that was just like me, a little kid, 5-year-old inside me, I would love that kid. I would love that person. But I am that person. It's like it's double standards. Why would you love somebody else, take care of somebody else, but you're not gonna take care of yourself? You are also a person. So I kind of played around that with in my head, and it helped me a lot. It's like, you know what? If I knew a kid that went through all that I went through, made bad decisions, and then hated himself for them, even though it's all in the past, I would tell him like, hey, it's okay. It's okay. Things will get better, and you shouldn't hate yourself like that. You should forgive yourself. I would tell him that. So this is what I did to myself. And now I really understand that the past is not even real. You make it up in your head. And the things I've done, even though at the time I thought they were bad decisions, because they were, whatever I did back then, it's not there anymore. In the now, right now in the room, it's not there anymore. The only thing that's left are the consequences of my bad decisions, of my addiction, of the things I did to people. There's still consequences. Even me, after like almost 3 years of no parties, and no drug use like that, there's still consequences. So of course, my man Paul here, after just under 2 months of sobriety and clean time, of course there's still consequences. People you've betrayed, people you lied to, they don't just like, for years, if you did that for years, family and stuff, they're not gonna forgive you and just be like, oh yeah, it's fine. Because you know what? The number of times I've said, I'm sorry before, and I won't do it again. I'm not gonna use drugs again. I've said that so many times that it didn't mean anything in the end. It took some time for my actions to speak for myself, because the words didn't mean shit. People didn't believe what I said. And even people on the internet, I've done many comebacks and failed them. They didn't believe me. They didn't believe I would be coming back. And I don't blame them for it, because they're just words. But when I came back in Toronto Pro 2018, I proved myself, and I wanted to prove to the world that I was good now, and that I was back into what I'm supposed to do. So I told Paul, give yourself a break, man. Early in recovery like that, just focus on ending the day by being clean. Just for today. Focus on that. That's all I'm asking for from him. But of course, you know, he has a kid and a wife. There's, you know, work and this and that. There's so many things at the same time probably has to do, like all of us, plus the consequences of his mistakes. It's a lot for one person to deal with. But if he just focuses on the day, on doing his best for today, and the most important thing is being clean and sober, going to bed, doing a little prayer, giving thanks, waking up, and doing it again. If I would think about all the things I gotta do, because I do that sometimes, I'm making myself freak out. I'm making myself suffer. And then if I think about all the things that I'm not good at, or the things I should be improving, or the things I've done in the past that I'm ashamed of, I'm gonna make myself feel like shit. But in reality, the best you can do is the best you can do. That's all you can do. So you give your best. You pray, you have faith, and then you surrender the rest to the universe. Because the outcome is out of our control because that's in the future. The only thing we can do is do our best right now. So I was telling him that. But of course, when you have strong emotions, you kind of like dwelling on it. But I'm pretty confident he's going to go to bed. He's going to wake up tomorrow morning because we talked a little bit. And I'm pretty sure he's going to feel a bit better. Because nothing lasts. Not the good times, not the bad times. I say that a lot because that's what I use also sometimes when I feel like shit. I don't try to control it anymore. If I'm angry, I don't try to control it anymore. If I'm nervous, if I have anxiety, I don't try to control it anymore, except if I just meditate or whatever. But I don't use things outside of me to change the way I feel. If I feel, if I feel bad, I just have to accept that I'm gonna feel like shit for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, for a whole day. But I know for a fact from experience that it won't last. So that gives me hope. And also when I'm having a lot of good time, I sit and I'm aware of it and I soak it in and I'm thankful for it. So those are some little principles here, but yeah, self-hatred. I don't know if you guys hate yourself sometimes, but I did a lot at first. I couldn't bear with the things I did, the people I betrayed, because it's crazy. Because in my addiction, it's like I would be the worst type of person to the people I loved and that loved me, which is stupid. And people that didn't care about me, I was hanging out with them. I was like laughing with them, using drugs with them. But that was all a lie. I was creating an illusion because I couldn't accept the reality of being clean and sober. It was too hard. I kind of put myself there because once you start using lots of drugs, you're used to feeling that high, and then that's your baseline. And then when you go below that, plus you're not in your right state of mind, you're a little bit mangled, you're emotional, so you don't make the right decisions, and the only thing the brain knows is going back to the drugs to make yourself feel good. That's a thing of the past now. And personally, I'm really happy and thankful for where I am in my life right now. But that took work. And at first I wasn't. It took me a while to really appreciate and come back to my normal self. But one thing that didn't change from then to now is that I was always aiming to be better, to improve myself spiritually. Because the physical part, of course, I'm a bodybuilder, I'm gonna freaking train and push myself and perform. But mentally and spiritually, sometimes especially spiritually, most people lack in that area because the environment does not encourage us to improve ourselves like that. They put ads in our face. They put stuff on the TV to like hook you up on there. They want to make you feel like you gotta spend money, that you need something, when in reality you don't need much. So that's why the spiritual side of things sometimes takes a hit, and it's also hard. And it can be boring at first. Like, really, I'm gonna sit down and meditate. Really, I'm gonna read those self-help books and stuff. But once you start getting the fruits of your labor, and you discover that, wow, life becomes better. Not because you got more money, not because you achieve things that are in a material form, but because you're more aware, you're more conscious, you act more out of love, in sync with love and God. I mean, now it all makes sense. Like me right now, I got some spiritual homework to do that I call my friend Aaron, and I got some stuff I gotta do, which is basically just taking more time to be of service, what I'm doing right now, and also prayer and meditation and just other stuff too. Remember, sometimes it's easier to love somebody else than loving yourself, but we shouldn't think like that because you're a person too. you should love yourself also. So ask yourself, hey, if I was somebody else, would I show compassion for that person? If you have a good heart, probably, And then if you don't, maybe it's because of things you're doing. They're not in tune with what you think is good. So then you gotta rectify that and put them going in the good path. This is what God's will means. It's to do what God would want you to do. What would Jesus do? Or what would your the most righteous superhero would do? Would he lie to his family? Would he steal? Would he hurt people? Would he react in a bad way because of what people tell him or make him feel? No. So think about that. Start acting accordingly, in sync with the right path, and then it's maybe going to be easier for yourself to love yourself. And then the bad actions, the decisions will be in the past. You might think on and dwell on them, but with time you'll understand that what matters is right now, and it's gonna start to get better. It's all those things are kind of intertwined, but it's just good to think about it. If you need help, seek help, because sometimes the thing that kills you is the ego. The ego is going to stop you from seeking help. But personally, my ego didn't. I got humbled pretty quick by life, and since then, I know my place in life. All right, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment below what you think about this. Comment below if you're hard on yourself, if you dwell about your past, if you have trouble loving yourself like I did. I'll respond to some of the questions. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Oh, other side. And remember to subscribe. Thanks.